Hi everyone. Hi English readers and English learners, and welcome to this new live read along of Wuthering Heights from Emily Bronte. We are reading this whole month of March. We are reading a classic of English literature, Wuthering Heights. And this whole month of March. Hi, Youssef. Welcome to this live. So we've read last week the first 5 chapters, and this week we are continuing reading Wuthering Heights and getting into the story of these characters living in Yorkshire in this very harsh and difficult weather and time. It's the 19th century, and life at that time is not easy for everyone, and especially for women, of course, but also for other people with no state and money. So this story is about all of these aspects of Yorkshire, of this life in Yorkshire, England. I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Youssef? How are you? We have a beautiful weather today. I think you live, remind me where you, I think you're in the UK, but where exactly? Do you live in London or somewhere else in the UK? Where, let me know where exactly do you live? Great. In Brighton. Oh, I love Brighton. I've been there. I stayed there for a couple weeks, uh, a couple years ago, and it was in September, something like that. Yeah. And it was really nice. Um, not hot enough to go for a swim, but I really enjoyed staying in Brighton. Very It's a very nice city. You can do everything by foot, and there were a lot of people as well that I met uh, because I took some English lessons while I was there, and I met some great people, international. It was people from everywhere, and it was a very nice experience. Loved it. Yeah, great. So I'm going to do a quick recap of the story. So as I was saying, this whole month of March, we're reading Wuthering Heights, and if you don't know this amazing story, we are reading here an adaptation of this classic of English literature. It's been adapted for English learners, and I love these adaptations from Penguin readers. They are very good at adapting classics and also contemporary novels, because at Ladies Book Clubs, we don't only read adaptation of classics of English literature or American literature. We also read, we can read also adaptations of contemporary novels. So it can be very varied as well. I've been reading I've been doing live readings for young learners of English. So I've done a couple of podcast episodes on adaptations of Frankenstein, of A Christmas Carols from Charles Dickens, that I have hosted in French this time, because there were adaptations for French learners of English. So this is the reason why I've done those live readings. So yeah, you can see there's a large range of different readings that I'm doing, but most of the time, the main thing is the live readings in English. And with the book club, we talk about those books that I'm reading at the moment. The books that I read over the week. So the live readings, the live read along, and at the moment it's this one. So the story. Let's recap. So there's, I don't know where to say, I don't know where to start. There's so many characters in this story. So far, we have met this. So the story starts with this new tenant at Thrushcross Grange, which is the name of a house in Yorkshire. Yorkshire is in the north of England, if you kind of if you can locate it. So this new tenant, Mr. Lockwood, is has just arrived at Thrushcross Grange, and he wants to introduce himself to his landlord, Mr. Heathcliff. And he's going to be quite disappointed by his acquaintance with him because Mr. Heathcliff is a very particular character. Hi, Melissa. He is quite rude, violent, and aggressive kind of character. Is kind of wild and massive and quite impressive man. And he is not going to be very welcoming towards his new tenant. And Mr. Lockwood is going to be quite intrigued, and he's going to ask some questions to his housekeeper, Nelly. And Nelly is used to be the housekeeper of Wuthering Heights as well, when a couple years ago. And she will start telling him the story of Mr. Heathcliff, and also about the ghost that appeared to him on one night, and the ghost of Catherine. So Nelly is gonna start the narration of the Heathcliff's past, and then we are going to get immersed into this story, and we learn that Heathcliff was actually adopted by Mr. Earnshaw, who is the father of Catherine and Hindley. And his Heathcliff arrival is not going to be very well received by Mrs. Earnshaw and Hindley, Catherine's brother. Catherine is going to be very happy, and she's going to get on very well with Heathcliff, but not Hindley, because he can feel that his dad prefers this new little boy than him. Hi, Etienne, welcome back. Cuckoo. So he's going to be very angry about the fact that his dad clearly prefers Heathcliff. So he's going to start to mistreat and hit Heathcliff really bad when his dad is not around. But at some point, Mr. Earnshaw is going to notice all the bruises on Heathcliff's body, and he's going to notice that Hindley is beating Heathcliff. So he's going to send him away to college so that he will be away from Heathcliff. And unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Earnshaw, they both die. And when Mr. Earnshaw dies, then Hindley comes back and becomes the new owner of Wuthering Heights. And Heathcliff stays, but his place as a member of the Earnshaw's family will not be accepted by Hindley, and he will be degraded to a simple servant, and he will move room, and it will have to stay with the servants part of the house. So Heathcliff is going to will not care about this, because he's only happy when he's with Catherine, as long as he's able to see Catherine and spend time with her, then is fine. He doesn't mind, and be just being a servant and working in the farm. After that, Catherine is going to reveal that she actually, as much as she loves Heathcliff, she will not marry him because he doesn't have a title or money. So she confides in Nelly about these thoughts about Heathcliff, and Heathcliff is going to hear that private conversation, and he will be devastated, completely heartbroken, because he's in love with her. And as much as she loves him as well, she's being very true with her to herself. So Heathcliff is going to be very saddened about this, about hearing this, and he's going to leave Wuthering Heights. All of a sudden, he's not living in the house anymore, and Catherine's going to look for him, but he's not there anymore. And she will wait for him to come back, but after 3 years, she will finally accept the marriage proposal of Mr. Edgar Linton, who is a neighbor living at Thrushcross Grange, nearby Wuthering Heights. So she is going to accept his hand, and they will move in Thrushcross Grange. Edgar Linton's parents will die of illness, and Edgar is going to be the new owner of Thrushcross Grange. So at that point, they both marry, and Catherine moves in Thrushcross Grange, and Edgar asks Nelly to move in with them, and she's going to accept. although she is very sad to leave Wuthering Heights, because there is this little boy called Hareton, who is the son of Hindley and his wife Frances. So she's very saddened to she's very sad, sorry, to leave him. But Edgar is offering quite a lot of money, so you have to make some choices in life, and she is going to decide to move to Thrushcross Grange. Hareton is the son of Hindley and Frances. Unfortunately, Frances died a couple days after giving birth to Hareton. So Hindley is going to fall really into a huge grief, and he's going to he's never gonna go over this this huge loss of his wife, and he's going to start drinking and not look after his son. So that's the reason why Nelly will look after Hareton quite a lot, like if it was her own son. So Hindley is gonna start drinking and being very aggressive to everyone, and neglect his son, neglect the house and the servants as well. The house is gonna get very dirty, and not a nice place to live as well. Hi, hello, Book Club Chronicles. Welcome to this live. I hope that you like Wuthering Heights, because this is what we are reading at the moment, the book club. I don't know what you are reading in your book club. I'll be very interested to know what you're reading at the moment. And for us, it's Wuthering Heights. Let me know. I'll be happy to know about your book club, and yeah, and where you're from. Are you a teacher? Let me know. And where are you from? Yeah, so where was I? So Hindley neglects Wuthering Heights and everyone, and he's going to, what this is what we learn, what we have learned yesterday is the fact that at some point Hindley he's going to lose Wuthering Heights because gambling and card games. Because 3 years being after being away, Heathcliff is going to come back. And he's going to come back as a new man, a gentleman with money and nice clothes. So he will play cards with Hindley and spend time with him, well, spend time gambling with him. And Hindley is going to lose all his money. And Heathcliff, he's going to take advantage of this and take advantage of his of Hindley, and he will get the house, and becomes the new owner of Wuthering Heights. And at the same time, he will start to spend time with Catherine again. Catherine is over the moon when he's back, and she wants to spend as much time as they used to do in it's fine. It's fine, Etienne, no worries. as they used to do, and so they're going to start spending some time again and together. And also at the same time, Isabella, the Edgar sister, will be around 18 at the time, and she is going to be quite fooled by the nice clothes and the fact that Heathcliff is a gentleman, and she's gonna fall in love. And Heathcliff, on the other end, is going to take advantage of her as well, and her youth as well, and her naivety, because he will decide they will decide together to get married. They will run away, not without telling anyone, and they will get married in another little village nearby. And Edgar is going to be disappointed by this marriage, but also helpless, because he will not be able to do anything, because Heathcliff now has new position as a powerful man, and Isabella is 18, and she is completely blinded by this new persona of Heathcliff, and she's kind of blinded by her love for him without really knowing him. So they're gonna get married, but very soon after they get married, she is going to discover the real Heathcliff. So probably Heathcliff also acted differently to attract, to seduce as well, Isabella. So that's also how he's going to be able to get married with her, so that he can hurt Edgar and Catherine. Because Heathcliff, the whole point for Heathcliff to be back at Wuthering Heights is to get his revenge from Catherine, all the people that hurt him, basically. Catherine, Hindley, and Edgar. Hindley, by getting the house back, buying his, being the owner of Wuthering Heights, and being richer than him. Catherine, for marrying his daughter, her sister-in-law, Isabella, because just to make her jealous. And Edgar for marrying the love of his life. So I'm gonna marry your sister. So knowing that Edgar and Heathcliff don't like each other. So hi Katie, welcome to this live. I'm just finishing the recap of the story. Hey, and then we can get started with the reading of the new chapter, of chapter 9. So yes, they get married, and soon after, Isabella regrets marrying Heathcliff, and Catherine is going to become very sick. Soon after they run away, Heathcliff and Isabella, to get married. At the same time, Catherine is going to become very sick, and at this time she's also pregnant. So that's going to be quite dangerous for her to get sick in her state. And when she will be at the point of giving birth, she is going to die from in childbirth, basically. So when we read in the book, when we read about her death, we learn first that she dies from being very sick and being very weak. And after that, we learn that after her death, then there was this little girl called Cathy who was born at the same time, at this soon after she died. I'm good, thank you. How are you, Melissa? So that's chapter 7. It's a very sad chapter, and in this chapter it's so heartbroken, because it's at that point that we learn that we hear from Catherine and Heathcliff their true feelings to one another. They're being honest to one another, and they reveal to each other that they love each other, and they forgive one another for all the hurting that they've done to each other and to the other people as well. So yes, it's a very heartbreaking chapter. And yesterday that was another tough chapter as well, because it is when we learn that after the death, or after Catherine's death, Heathcliff is going to be tormented and becomes even more is going to be angry against the whole world, and more specifically against Hindley and Isabella, and is going to become very violent against Isabella, to the point which she will decide to leave Wuthering Heights, because she will have to save her own life. So here, Heathcliff's character, is going to take a new turn here, and as much as we would pity him, or being not pitying, but be compassionate with him, because he had a very tough childhood, and people being hard with him, and being heartbroken by Catherine and rejected by her. When he comes back and kind of play with Isabella, because she is really in love with him, but he's definitely not, because he has a plan. He is manipulative with her, and he's going to make her suffer as well. So and suffer mentally, psychologically. But we learn in chapter 8 that he is also being violent with her, so he's going to start hitting her. So here there is some domestic violence that is clearly depicted in the book. So at that point, you cannot really feel sorry for Heathcliff. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, hard to feel sorry for him, um, because of his behavior with Isabella, and also with Hindley. He's going to be very hard on him, hitting him, and even when he's on the floor, to the point or where Hindley is nearly is about to die, but he doesn't die, because he doesn't die from Heathcliff's beating, but he dies from his heavy drinking. But I mean, both might be linked anyway. So that's the end of what we learn at the end of chapter 8. So again, there is another character that dies soon. I think it's probably 6 months. 6 months after Catherine's death, Hindley dies as well. So everyone is gone from Wuthering Heights. Nelly's gone. Hindley is dead, and Isabella has left as well. So it's just it's just Heathcliff and the servants, basically, the remaining servants. Joseph is a farm worker. So in the end, Heathcliff. Oh, and there is Hareton. Hareton is still. Oh, that's another point in the final point in chapter 8, when we learn that Edgar and Isabella will want to ask for Hareton to move in Thrushcross Grange. But the problem is that if they ask for Hareton, then Heathcliff will ask for Cathy. So no, I want to keep it. No, they want to ask for Cathy. Sorry. Wait. I get confused. No, or it's Isabella. 1 second. No. They want to ask for Hareton, but if they ask for Hareton, Heathcliff will ask for Isabella's baby, because this is what we learn in chapter 8, is that Isabella has given birth to a boy called Linton. So let's not get confused with all these characters. So Linton is the son of Heathcliff and Isabella, and he's quite a weak and thin child. So this is the reason why Isabella and Edgar do not ask for Hareton, because that means that Heathcliff will be in his own right to ask for Linton's to ask for his own son, Linton. And the thing is that Heathcliff quite like Hareton, because he's a good boy, and I mean, he seems to do a good work at Wuthering Heights, and Hindley gave it to so Hareton Yeah. So what happened? Just to give some more information. So what happened is that Hindley was so bankrupt, so Hindley didn't have any money when he played cards with Heathcliff, that he gave Wuthering Heights to Heathcliff to pay him the money that he owed him because of gambling with the card games. So Hareton becomes poor because he's not the owner of Wuthering Heights, as he should have, because of his inheritance and his descendants from Hindley. So he has no money. So Heathcliff will be happy to keep him because he's quite strangely enough, Hareton is not really described much here, but Hareton actually has the same kind of character than Heathcliff. He's quite a strong boy and hardworking. So he kind of reminds Heathcliff of his own of himself when he was young. So that's one of the reasons why he wants to keep him. So that's not said, but in the original story, you've got more details, and that's why he wants to keep the child. Okay, now let's read chapter 9. Little Cathy. The 12 years that follow Catherine's death were the happiest of my life. That's Nelly talking. Little Cathy grew quickly, and she could walk and talk before she was 2. She was beautiful with the Earnshaw's dark eyes, but the Linton's pale skin and gold hair. She could be naughty, but she was never spoiled or wild like her mother, and she had a warm, loving heart. She was very close to her father, and until she was 13, she never went out of the gardens alone. She did not know about Wuthering Heights or Mr. Heathcliff. She seemed happy at Thrushcross Grange. But sometimes she looked out of the window at the moor and said, Nelly, how long will it be before I can walk out on the moor? What is on the other side of those hills? Is it the sea? No, Miss Cathy, I replied. There are more hills just like this. And why do those rocks look like gold in the evening? She asked. They are the Penistone Crags. They are gold because they are high, so the sun touches them late in the evening, I said. In winter, there is always snow there before it snows here. Sometimes snow lies there in summer too. Oh, you have visited them. Oh, you have visited them. Then I can visit them too when I am a woman. Sorry. Your father will tell you that they are not very exciting, I replied. I knew that she had to pass Wuthering Heights to visit Penistone Crags, and I did not want her to go to that house. The moor and the gardens are much nicer. Thrushcross Grange is the nicest place in the world. But I know the gardens, and I don't know that place, she said quietly. I would love to ride my pony to Penistone Crags sometimes. In July, 12 years after leaving her husband, Isabella died. Although I do not know what her illness was, when he heard the news, Mr. Linton went away for 3 weeks. He planned to bring Linton home with him. At first, Cathy was too unhappy to read or play, so I started making her go into the gardens. Sometimes she walked with Charlie, one of Mr. Linton's dogs, and sometimes she went out on a pony. It was a beautiful summer. Sometimes she stayed outside from breakfast until tea. But one day the naughty girl did not come home. Then one of the servants told me that she had seen Cathy riding her pony towards Penistone Crags. What will happen to her? I shouted. I followed the road to Wuthering Heights. There I saw Charlie, Mr. Linton's dog, lying under a window with blood on his face. The housekeeper, Zillah, opened the door. She was from Gimmerton, and had worked at Wuthering Heights since Hindley died. Are you looking for Miss Cathy? She asked me. Don't worry, she is safe here, but I'm happy that Mr. Heathcliff and Joseph are away. I entered and saw Cathy in a little chair. She was laughing and talking to Hareton. He was now a strong, handsome young man of 18, but he wore the clothes of a farm worker and his hair was wild. He was watching her with huge interest and surprise. Nelly, she cried, I have a wonderful story to tell you. Miss Cathy, put your hat on and come home now, I said. You cannot go riding again before your father gets back. He will not be happy about this. But Nelly, what have I done? She cried. Miss Cathy, you do not know who owns this house. Cathy turned to Hareton. Your father owns it, doesn't he? No, he replied, and he turned away. Whose house is it then? A minute ago, you were talking about our house and our family. Are you a servant? If you are a servant, you should call me Miss. Hareton's face became very angry. I will never be your servant. I prefer to kill you, he said. Wow. You'd what? She replied, her face shocked. You rude girl, he said. Come, Miss Cathy, I cried. Let's go. But Nelly, how can you speak to me like that? She cried. You awful boy. I will tell my father about you. Hareton did not seem worried about Edgar Linton, and suddenly Cathy looked like she was going to cry. Miss Cathy, Hareton is not your servant. He's your cousin, I said. My cousin? She shouted and then laughed loudly. You're not my cousin. My father has gone to get my cousin Linton from London. Shh, Miss Cathy, I said quickly, because I did not want Mr. Heathcliff to know that Linton was coming to Thrushcross Grange. We called Joseph and asked for the pony and Charlie, and we left Wuthering Heights quickly. Cathy told me that Hareton's dogs had attacked hers as she rode past Wuthering Heights on her way to Penistone Crags. I made her promise not to tell her father about visit. At first, she was unhappy about this, but then she agreed. A week after our visit to Wuthering Heights, a letter came from Edgar Linton. It said that he was returning soon with Isabella's son and asked me to get a room ready for him. Cathy was wild with excitement when she heard about her cousin. Linton is just 6 months younger than I am, she said a few days later, as we waited for them in the garden on a beautiful hot day. Is he going to be my friend? Oh, he's going to be my friend. Oh, I'm so happy. When the carriage finally arrived, Cathy shouted as she saw her father's face in the window. He got out of the carriage quickly and threw his arms around her. I went past them and looked in the carriage. Linton was asleep in the corner with a coat around him. He was weak and pale with gold hair. He looked very like Mr. Linton, but he was much thinner and weaker. The boy was very tired from the journey, and when I woke him up, he began to cry. He came into the house and lay down quietly on the sofa as I went to get some tea. When I came back, Cathy was sitting next to him, and she was touching his hair and kissing his cheek. This seemed to make him happy, and he stopped crying and smiled. "He will be fine," said Mr. Linton. "If we can keep him," I replied "If we can keep him," I replied quietly. I was right to be afraid. The next morning, Joseph came to the door. "Heathcliff has sent me for his boy," he said to Mr. Linton, "and I mustn't go home without him." "Hi, welcome." Mr. Linton was quiet for a moment. His face worried, but there was nothing that he could do. Linton was Heathcliff's son, and Mr. Linton did not have the power to stop Linton's father from taking him. "Tell Mr. Linton that his son should come to Wuthering Heights tomorrow. He is in bed and is too tired to travel now." "No," said Joseph. "Mr. Heathcliff wants him tonight." "Not tonight," answered Mr. Linton, and he turned and closed the door. "Tomorrow, then," shouted Joseph, and he slowly walked away. Tomorrow, or Mr. Heathcliff will come himself to take him." Ooh, this is tough here. So that's the end of chapter 9. I hope that you find this. Let me know what you found, how you found this chapter. It's getting quite serious. It's getting to to be quite. It seems to be quite a tricky situation here with the fact that Linton, so Heathcliff's son, is now at Thrushcross Grange, and Heathcliff knows about it. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting discussion at the book club during our weekly meeting. Just while talking about this, Cathy, who is a member in the book club, Cathy, I'm talking to you now because I know that hey, hi, hello, I love this chapter more than last chapter. Yes, because there are new characters, these young people who are getting to know each other. There are going to be new characters and new stories going on, less death, hopefully. About, I mean, we learn still the death of Isabella. I just wanted to say, Cathy, they're not going to be a live meeting on Saturday this weekend at all. I'm not able to do a live our Zoom meeting this week. So I hope that's okay. So we will meet tomorrow. I'll do my live reading of the next chapter. So tomorrow we will read chapter 10, but then we will meet next Saturday for the Zoom meetup. And Youssef, if you have any questions about the book club or becoming a member of the book club, don't hesitate to let me know. So yeah, we will meet on Saturday 23rd for the weekly book club meetup, Zoom meetup. Yeah. And that means that there are going to be a lot to talk about because we will have the last chapters. So next week will be the last week of the reading of Wuthering Heights. Yeah. It's going to be sad. But no, for now, we're still chapter 9, and tomorrow we will read chapter 10. Yes. So I'm quite excited for what we're going to read next and what we're going to learn next in this book. So that's it for me for tonight. And I wish you a beautiful evening and happy reading as well. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. What do we read next? I think you remember when we talked about Virginia Woolf? So next week, not next week, next month, you're going to get here a little preview of next, where is it? Let me get the book of our next live read along. It's going to be Mrs. Dalloway. So that's going to be our next reading in April. And this is a B2 level. So quite a challenging yeah, that can be a little bit challenging for some of you, but a nice challenge. And we're going to read it together anyway. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Amazing. I can't wait. I love this story and I can't wait to read it with you next month. So that's it for me tonight. And I say bye-bye to you and see you tomorrow. Bye. Next level for me. Yes, that's great. That's perfect. Bye.